Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Welcome back, you guys. Today I'm bringing you a little bit of some new products from Nationwide. Everybody's familiar with Nationwide mainly for their NUSI product, right? The NUSI ETF, which is a covered call ETF with a protective put option applied. So it's similar to a QYLD covered call, but with the protective put applied for crash protection. I know a lot of people said, I think I said it in the past too, that it's downside protection, but I really would rather call it crash protection, because it only can do so much, right? I've seen a lot of people get upset with NUSI, and the market goes down 3% and NUSI goes down 3%, and they get upset because they think it's supposed to not go down. That's not the case. We're going to do a quick overview of what NUSI does here. I don't want to go into a big in-depth review because I think NUSI's been done over and over, but we're going to just do a basic review, and then we're going to look over at the 3 new products that Nationwide came out as a direct result of Global X coming out with these products. So I think this is going to become a series, Global X versus Nationwide, to compare, kind of like the income fund showdown that I do. And we're going to do it with the Nationwide collared ETFs versus the Global X collared ETFs. We'll probably start that in the new year, because they're a little different, right? Global X, they're passively managed, they're rules based. Nationwide's, they're actively managed, meaning the managers can take advantage if they see something that they don't like or do like in the market. They can adjust the put and calls, those types of things. Now, that could be a disadvantage because they could be wrong, right? They're human. So it'll be interesting to see how these play out over time. And I think having these battle head to head, actively managed versus passively managed, doing the same strategy, I think that'll be interesting to track and follow for over at least a year. So look for that starting in 2021. I don't know when the first one will come out, but we'll see. All these ones from Nationwide are brand new. So there's not a lot of people in them yet. And kind of the same thing with the Global X products as well. But I believe next year, I said it in the last live stream, I think 2022, people are going to look for yield and safety and value. I think that's going to be the year of 2022. That's just my prediction. I could be wrong. It's just an opinion. So let's just go over it real quick, and let's see what we think. So what we're looking at, Nationwide, they came out with 3 new ETFs. Okay, they had NUSI already, and they have NSPI, which is the S&P 500 version of NUSI. Okay, they have NDJI, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average version of NUSI, and they have the NTKI, which is the Russell 2000 version of NUSI. So it's essentially the exact same strategies. They're just using different indexes, right? It's kind of like the QYLD, RYLD, and XYLD, right? They're just using different indexes. The only one different here, the outlier, I think, is this one, the Dow Jones. I'm not sure if Global X has. As a matter of fact, I think Global X only has the NASDAQ and the S&P as far as the collared ones are concerned. But Nationwide's, I think, is a little unique with the Dow Jones and the Russell 2000. Now, in my mind, these are income funds, and to get into these, in my opinion, okay, this is just my opinion, you want to choose one of these and just buy it and hold it forever if that's what you want, right? If you're looking for income with crash protection. Now, you guys got to understand that crash protection just means that, crash protection. A lot of these say downside protection, and I don't really like that because it's really, sometimes it really depends on where they put that put, right? So they can put it 5% down from the current price. They can put it 10% down from the current price. So it's not going to protect you from a 2% drop, a 3% drop in a month. It's really not, okay? So what are these? So essentially, just like NSPI, they purchase all the stocks in the underlying index. They can achieve that by buying all the stocks, or they can achieve that by buying the index that they track. So they can buy the SPI for this one. They can buy the DIA for this one, for the Dow Jones, and they can buy the the IWM for the Russell 2000, or they can just buy all the stocks, right? And then they deploy a rules-based options collar strategy. So they sell a call and they buy a put. Buying the put offers them downside protection. I'm going to give you an example of what that kind of looks like, and we're going to look at it in the SPI ETF. This is not one that they use, but these are smaller numbers. They use the actual indexes, and I don't want to use the actual indexes because the numbers are a lot bigger, and I think it's easier to understand because you have to multiply these numbers by 100. So what they would do is they'd go out to the monthly expiration, and this is the SPI ETF, and they would sell an at-the-money or close to at-the-money call option. So let's say it's trading right now at 468. Say they would sell the 469, and they would receive roughly $730. You have to times this by 100. They'd receive roughly $730 per contract for that, and that would limit their upside to $469. Okay, so 400. It's at 468. They won't make any money besides the $730 and the dollar of upside from 468 to 469. But what they do with these collars, right, and this gives you the crash protection. They'll take a portion of this 734 and they would buy a put down here, and they would protect, let's say they wanted to protect 5%, right? So anything below 5%, these puts will pay off. So what is 5%? Oh man, I've got to do math now. So 46.80, let's call it $23. So, or $24. No, that's 23. You guys messed me up putting in freaking math in my video here. So let's say they'd buy the 440, right? That's not right, but putting pressure on math on me right now. So they would buy the 440. Okay, so net would get them about $490 per contract. Now that $490 is what they would split upon your monthly dividend. Now, NSPI, I don't know if these new tickers are going to do what NSPI has done, but I would imagine that they would. NSPI is a managed payout, has a managed payout policy. What people don't understand that is that NSPI plans on paying out 0.65% per month of their earnings. Okay, they want to achieve a 0.65 yield per month, and that I would imagine that they would do that for all of them since it's been working for NSPI. So that would work out to about a 7.8% yield. Now, so how does that work? What does that look like for the downside protection, right? Let's look at the NSPI here. And what I have on the screen, if you look at this chart, right? This is from March, roughly March 2020. The drop of March 2020 is what this pretty much is. And this line up here is NUSI, and the blue line going down is QYLD. So the NUSI has the put involved, and QYLD does not. So you'll see NUSI initially participates just like QYLD in the drop, but then once it gets to a certain point, the put starts making money. Okay, so as the price drops, the put that you bought makes money. Okay, so that's what will provide you a floor, right? And that's why NUSI just kind of stayed right there, right at about 10% down, and it came back up. Whereas QYLD, they don't have that floor, and they went down almost 25%. So that's how NUSI can outperform during a crash. Now, if this were just, if this were never to go down, like if it went down 5%, right, and that was it, then, NUSI would just go down 5% as well, right? Because the put doesn't really kick in until you have a major move. Now, if it was 2% per month every single month, that probably wouldn't help NUSI at all. It would neither help either one of them. But so what I'm saying is crash protection is what you're going to get out of these. So the NDJI, Dow Jones Risk Manage, expense ratio is 0.68, just like NUSI's expense ratio is 0.68. The S&P 500, 0.68. And the NTKI at 0.68. So the monthly distributions are paid to investors using a portion of the premium generated by the call option. And that's the call option not minus the bought put. Now, when I told you it's a managed distribution, so they want to achieve a 0.65 yield. So anything that they can get above that, right here in step 4, additional premium may be used to reinvest in the underlying portfolio of stocks, which will help NUSI actually participate in the appreciation of the index a little bit. Not very much, but at least some. So that's why I want to do this income fund or collared fund comparison throughout the year next year to find out whether Global X is going to be more successful with a passively managed strategy, or is Nationwide going to be more successful with an actively managed strategy. In my mind, because I trade options a lot, I would imagine the actively managed one will prevail, but only time will tell. So those are the 4 new ones. Okay. Now, what are my thoughts? My thoughts are I won't be buying them. As some of you may know, I sold out of NUSI. If you missed that video, check it out. And I explain why. But I'm not saying that these aren't excellent products. I actually really like these products. I like NUSI, and I would imagine that I'd like these other ones as well. But I don't need the crash protection, especially as much money as I would dedicate it to this, right? So if I had maybe, $100,000 and I had maybe 50% of my money in one of these, now that can make a difference in your portfolio. But if this is only 2 or 3% of your portfolio, you're really not downside protecting yourself, right? It's a very small portion that you're really protecting. So, and that was my issue with NUSI. That's why I got out of it, and I just decided to go with as much income as I could possibly get. And that's why I went with QYLD. And but I think the Nationwide products are superior. I really do. So that being said, do I think you should run out and buy them? No, I think just like the Quirmies and the Exermies from Global X, give it some time, let them get some assets under their belt, let it figure out. Because I haven't imagined that this Dow Jones one won't be very popular. That's just my guess. But it does position them in a unique way because the Dow Jones is a lot of times ignored. So maybe that'll bring some excitement to it. But like I said, I would just wait it out, watch, make sure that the distributions are what you want. Global X they're a little funny on their stuff. I got to be honest with you. The QRMI and the XRMI, they've made those distributions huge, and I think it's just a bait and switch type of thing. That's my opinion. Again, that's just how I feel. Because there's no way that you can run a collar strategy like they are and pay just as much as QILD. Can't do it. It can't be done. It's just the math doesn't work. So I believe these NUCs and all these will still run about 7.5–8% yield, and I think that's excellent. So again, will they pay return of capital? That's another thing that I need to cover with some of these because there's a lot of confusion about return of capital. I found a white paper about return of capital. I'm going to run a series, or I'm going to do one really long video to explain return of capital and how it can be used strategically, right? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. I'll save it for the video. But anyway, there you have it. NSPI, NDJI, and NTKI pretty much run the same exact strategy as a NUCI. I would imagine they would have about the same yield, and they're going to have the same expense ratio, same strategy, everything. It's just what index do you like to sell calls on? And actually, the Russell 2000, if you track this, the Russell 2000 has been the best one to run covered or calls on the way they run calls on, because the Russell 2000 has traded flat for quite a while. If you can trade flat sideways, these funds will shine. In volatility to the upside, these funds don't do so well. Volatility to the downside, the nationwide products will perform better than the Global X products. I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff that I say in every video. You guys have a great one. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye. I am not a financial advisor. The information contained in this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. It is not intended to be investment advice. Please seek a licensed professional for any investment, tax, or legal advice. Thank you.